Hi guys, I'm really stressed today. I just went to the grocery store, bought 10 items, and it was $80 freaking dollars already. I literally have $10 left on my account. The fuck? So a little backstory. I got laid off from my job a month ago. And I've been applying for jobs months before I got laid off. Sent out hundreds of resumes already. Applied to hundreds of jobs on the internet, remote and on-site. Tailored my resume to every position that I applied using ChatGPT. Went to only a few interviews. And still nothing. Like, what the fuck is going on with America right now? Like, it's so freaking hard to live here. Like, I'm gonna stay positive. I'm gonna keep applying for jobs. I'm gonna keep showing up. But man, my bills are not going to wait.
So when are we going to talk about that the economy in the US is so bad that companies don't even want to hire like us in the US anymore? Everyone's like, oh, well, layoffs are down from what they were at like X time last year. It's like, yeah, they're outsourcing. There's less of us to lay off. They're outsourcing to other countries. I've literally been told that US employees, like by companies, I've been told by people at specific companies that US employees are too expensive to hire and keep right now. Do about that, guys. Like, as far as I'm aware, I need money to stay alive. So what are we gonna do about that? I have 2 kids I need to support. Hello?
One of the things that poor people don't understand about increasing your quality of life as you get progressively richer is that hedonic adaptation will destroy most of your fantasies. And people who are in the middle class or upper middle class already kind of know this going into wealth. But people who come from nothing have never experienced luxury. So they maintain this fantasy that if they just could get luxury products or luxury experiences, they would be happy. Like when I was in college, I worked at a lot of restaurants, and you meet a lot of guys from tough economic backgrounds, guys who are dishwashers and busboys and whatnot. And we would talk shit about like, okay, if you got rich, what would you spend your money on? And so many of these guys would say, I would buy a car. I'd buy a Camaro or a Lamborghini, or I'd buy a watch. And the problem with that is hedonic adaptation. Like, you can go and get that Lamborghini, but 2 weeks from now, driving that Lamborghini is going to feel like driving your Toyota. That is how our brains work. They get very used to things very fast. So spending your newfound money on luxury items is probably the worst way to increase your happiness or boost your quality of life. And the stuff that actually can do that is very uncool. It's stuff like paying for someone to do your laundry, like getting a laundry service, or paying to have a cleaner come once a week or once every 2 weeks to clean your apartment or your house. Paying to get takeout food delivered so that you don't have to waste time going to the grocery store and cooking your meals and this and that. All of those little unromantic things are actually what's going to make you feel like a king at the end of the day.
Wages haven't gone up in probably at least 20 years, but the cost of living has skyrocketed in the past 5 years. And everybody's mad at me for complaining about having a small 750 square foot apartment, but having to pay $2,000 a month for that. I don't understand that logic. Literally 5 years ago, we were living in a 750 square foot apartment. Same standards, very average, mid, not updated, same type of community, same type of apartment complex. Everything was literally the same as we are living in now. And it was $650 a month. Yes, we lived in North Carolina and now we live in Connecticut, so I know there's going to be a difference because it's more expensive to live up here. But even I have looked at the apartment that we used to live in that was $650 a month. It is now $1,200 a month. It's double the price that it was 5 years ago. And 5 years is not a long time. And wages have not gone up. I actually make less now than I did back then because of how bad the job market is now. And I wasn't able to find a good paying job. This is why nobody can ever get ahead in our country, because wages have not gone up, but the cost of living of literally everything, not just rent, but groceries, like electric, like every single thing that you have to pay for to live, all of your necessities, everything has gone up. So we're just trying to survive at this point.
This is when America everything is more expensive. So the American society made an amazing job in making debt a very easy thing to get. In Italy, on the other hand, getting a loan is extremely hard. What does this mean? If a company knows that they will get the money no matter what, they don't care if it's coming from a bank or if it's coming from a person. You're gonna get the money no matter what. Then the risk of that payment doesn't go to the seller, it goes to the bank that is loaning the money, the bank that is giving the credit card. So knowing that you're gonna get money no matter what, even if people are broke, you're gonna charge as much as you want. The perfect example I could give to you is student loans. Student loans are pretty much accepted by the government and everything, which means that a college knows that they're gonna get the money no matter what. Which means that a college can overcharge as much as they want. Because another entity is taking over the responsibility over payment because the college will get the money no matter what. So let me ask you a question. If you know that you're gonna get as much money as you want, you don't have to take the responsibility over payment because that responsibility is taken by another entity, what would you do? You would charge the crap out of it. Especially in a country where greed is probably one of your main values. It makes total sense. Put yourself in the head of the average human being here. If student loan would be disallowed, cancelled, disallowed, if you cannot take out student loans anymore, colleges, in order to make money, will be forced to drop prices or else they would have no students. Because students cannot afford $40,000 a year. This is why private college in Italy does not have loans. I went to private college, one of the top-notch colleges in Italy, and it was 10 grand a year. Literally less than community college in America. Why? Because we don't have access to student loans. So you either pay or you don't pay. And so the colleges have to appeal to a larger range of people, finding the perfect price where they can make enough money, but also tackling a large enough audience. So if you eliminate the access to debt like we have in Italy, we'll bet that prices of everything will drop. The funny thing, this is stuff that they don't even teach in college, or they teach the general concept, but they don't go as deep into it. I'm teaching you on TikTok. Anyway, if you like my videos, like and...
There was zero inflation last month. Why does that feel like fighting words? That the average cost of living for the average American did not increase. Well, it has to do with misinformation and misunderstanding about inflation and how policymakers just want us to get over it. But the path to a better quality of life demands a worker uprising. And I'll get to that in a second, but first, inflation. You'll hear the news say that inflation is down significantly over the past 2 years. And that is true, but it requires clarification. Inflation is the rate of change in the cost of living. So prices didn't change in May, and they're up only 3% over the past year. That rate of change is down, but it just means that things have gotten more expensive less quickly. Nothing is cheaper than it was 4 years ago. Now, rising prices are normal cost change. You couldn't keep prices from moving more than you could stop the wind, but policymakers aim for such low annual increases that it's almost unnoticeable. But the most important thing is not the rate of increase in the cost of living. It's the relative change in income. Are our wages and salaries keeping up? And they have not been. But there's been good news. Low-wage workers have earned big raises, thanks in part to massive protests, strikes, and organizing. But also 22 states have increased their minimum wage this year. That's helped average wages catch up to the cost of living. Inflation-adjusted average hourly wages are up since 2020. However, those gains have not been widespread through middle-income earners. Median real earnings are still down since 2020. And if you look at those above the age 25, it's down even further. So the power to change this is actually in our hands. A recent study showed that only 25% of people asked for a raise in the past 3 years, but half who asked got it. Workers at companies and industries who never had a union before have started organizing, protesting, and getting paid. Workers have the upper hand, but you need to use it.